Well, hello, friends. I lost my voice this weekend. I'm fine. I just did a lot of talking this weekend, so I'm a little bit scratchy. But welcome to our part two with basic balanced nutrition. This one is going to be about mindful eating. So I will probably turn my camera off and definitely mute this hoarse voice, but I'll be here. I can help monitor the chat. Brandy actually does a really fantastic job of that anyway. If you have any questions or concerns, please drop it in. And do know that this session is being recorded and we'll get it posted on our Living Well YouTube. That way, if there's anything you want to go back to, anything you need to revisit, or if you want to share with a coworker who maybe couldn't make it live, we'll have that available to you guys. If technology works with us by the end of the day, if not, in a couple of days. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Brandy, who will take it from here.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay, great. Awesome. Well, like Madeline said, today we'll be going over mindful eating and how to tune in to your body's signals. So let's see, there we go. So for those of you who have no idea who I am, my name is Brandy. I'm the owner and one of the dietitians here at Basic Balanced Nutrition. And I'm an Aggie and Sam Houston alumni, dog and cat mom, lover of quesadillas and anything chocolate, and hater of fad diets and restrictions. So I'm super excited to get into today's topic. If y'all feel comfortable, turn on your cameras. I love to see y'all's faces. It makes me feel like I'm actually presenting to people, which is fun. I know it's lunch hour too, so obviously, as a dietitian, please feel free to eat during this session. Please fuel your body. This might be like your lunch break, so do that. Go for it. So I want to get started today with a question. So, how often do you find yourself, oh, you know what? I'm not sharing any of my things, am I? You know what? Let me just back up. Here I am. I'm not used to Zoom. We use a different platform. Let's see. Okay, can you hear me and can you see me now? Like, see my slides. Cool. Okay, now let me go back. Technical difficulties, because when I do that, it move the chat. Okay, cool. Got everything set up. Technology sometimes, y'all. Here it is. Okay, let me move y'all around so I can see y'all a little bit better. Okay, I have no idea what I just did, but we're gonna go with it. Okay, as long as y'all can see. So here's me. Here's my, if y'all feel comfortable, please share your faces, your camera. I love to see y'all. And now here's my question. So I want to get started with a question. So how often do you find yourself eating just on autopilot? So without really thinking about what or how much you're eating. So you can throw this in the chat if you want to, is it frequently, daily, occasionally? You can just think about this to yourself, because I just want to, like with this, I just want to bring awareness to what you're currently doing. Yes, all the time, frequently. Okay. All the time, several times a week, a lot. Okay. Perfect. Well, hopefully by the end of the session today, y'all will feel a little bit more in control of maybe how you're feeling and just a little bit more aware, and have some tools and tips to take away so y'all can feel a little bit more present and mindful with your meal. So I want to get a little bit more comfy. I love an icebreaker always. So if you could describe your current eating habits in one word, what would it be? So would it be rushed, chaotic, balanced, intentional, inconsistent? Maybe it is consistent. So I just gave some examples here. So if y'all want to drop that in the chat, what would be one word to describe your eating habit? So quick, inconsistent, semi-consistent, intentional, inconsistent. Let's see, inconsistent, convenient, unbalanced, trying. Okay, perfect. I love it. This is so exciting because, again, I feel like this presentation, even other presentations we do and different things, what we do at Basic Balanced Nutrition can absolutely help y'all. Again, get a little bit more mindful, get a little bit more intentional, more consistent. Consistency is key whenever we're eating. So I'm super excited. So let's see. I've recently noticed that I'm getting more hungry as soon as I finish a workout doing street training, which I do in the evenings most of the time. Yeah, and maybe it's like you're not fueling enough ahead of time, or it might just be like, hey, you're using all of your energy store, so you just need to replenish those energy stores after you're working out. Unbalanced, I'm realizing I don't know how to feel my body or what I need. Well, you are in luck. I'm so excited because I can absolutely help out. Disordered, okay, we can absolutely help all of y'all out. So let's get started. Let's jump into our topics today. So a little bit of an overview. Why does mindful eating even matter? We'll go into what mindful eating even is. We'll go over understanding hunger and fullness cues, the hunger and fullness scale, recognizing different types of hunger, and then different strategies, super practical, easy strategies to help with mindful eating, help to start implementing that. So let's start with why does mindful eating matter? So, a lot of different things here that I want to talk about. So, first off, is what is mindful eating? Anyways, if you've never heard what it is, it's basically being present with your food and your body during meals and snacks. So, whenever we eat. So, this is going to help us tune into our physical hunger and fullness cues instead of relying on external factors. So, like diets, so those restrictive diets, maybe social pressures. So, we'll go over the importance of mindful eating and how it can positively impact our relationship with food. So, a few different points I have here. Breaking free from diet culture. So, mindful eating is going to help us move away from that diet culture, away from the restriction, the diet rules, which we know that those often lead to guilt, overeating, or binging. So, this is going to encourage a more balanced approach where food we look at it as more of just nourishment instead of something to be restricted or controlled in kind of a negative way. So, also another thing it helps with is just reconnecting with our body. So, by mindful eating, it helps us form that deeper connection of how our body feels when we're actually hungry, full, satisfied. So, getting in tune with those um, feelings in our body because most times what people do, I know Madeline said that was the first thing on there was just quick. A lot of people just rushed through meals. They're quick, they're rushed, we're quote unquote busy, so we don't have time. So we're eating very quickly. So reconnecting with our body and then promoting just a positive relationship with food. So this is a big thing at Basic Balanced Nutrition that we help our clients with because the relationship with food is so very important and it actually shapes our decisions around our food choices. So, mindful eating encourages enjoying food without guilt or shame. So, there's no off limit foods, no bad foods. Again, all foods are meant to be enjoyed. So, it helps us reduce that emotional eating or mindless eating, which leads to more sustainable, enjoyable eating habits. And then also helps us decrease overeating or even binging. So, it helps us prevent those things by allowing us to stop eating when we feel satisfied instead of continuing to eat based on, again, those external cues. So, for instance, say you go, I'm going to pick on Mexican food restaurants because there's like usually this like huge plate full of Mexican food when you go out to eat. So, for portion sizes, for instance, say you get this plate of food, you eat half, and then you're like, well, there's half left, let me just eat it. So, that would be one of those examples. So, by using mindful eating, we're stopping to see how we're actually feeling before we maybe finish that plate. So think about the last time you truly felt satisfied after a meal. So, what did that experience feel like? And how often do you find yourself eating without truly being aware of hunger or fullness? So, here in a second, we're going to go over what we call our hunger and fullness scale. And satisfied is just where we've eaten, we feel satisfied, we feel comfortable, we're not that overly full or like uncomfortable full where it's like I got to take off my pants, I do not feel good, that kind of full. So whenever we think about this, it's like where do we feel or when have we felt truly just satisfied with our meal? And again, you can put this in the chat, you can just think about this. Again, this is just kind of bringing awareness to what have you currently been doing? So I'll give you a few more seconds just to think a little bit on this. Okay, so now let's get into the good stuff. So, understanding hunger and fullness using the hunger and fullness scale. So, this is going to be one of your keys to mindful eating. So, we're going to use this scale as a guide to assess when it's time to eat, when it's time to stop eating in a non-restrictive way. So again, it's about bringing awareness to ourselves, our body, because again, a lot of times we're busy, we don't actually ever take time, I feel like, to just stop and think, how am I feeling? What do I need? What does my body need? So bringing awareness and then also honoring our hunger and fullness cues. So how this scale works, obviously, it's a scale of 1 to 10. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start in the middle, go to the left, and then I'm going to come back to the middle and then go to the right. So starting at 5, so we're just neutral. We're not hungry, we're not full. So say we start going to the left, we start to get a little bit hungry, our stomach maybe starts to growl, then we start getting hangry, and then we're starving, ravenous, where we get lightheaded, sometimes a little nauseous, right? So that's kind of going to the left. Now going back to the middle, so that 5, and I'm going to go to the right. So this is where we start eating, this is where we're satisfied, we're pleasantly full, we get a little too full, uncomfortably full, and then painfully full, where we are sick, we might throw up, where we don't feel good at all. So, how this scale works, it works like a pendulum. So, if you know what a pendulum is, I probably am going to not explain this very well, but basically, a pendulum, if you bring it to one side, so say if you go to the 1, you have to swing all the way to a 9 or 10. It's just what it is. It's physiological here. It's just how it works. So, in addition to using the scale, another thing that we add on to teaching our clients is our balancing method, which we go through timing, that consistency throughout the day, eating consistently throughout the day. I know a lot of y'all said inconsistent. So eating consistently throughout the day, and also how to balance each individual meal and snack. So putting those two things together, because if we're going too long without eating, that's where we swing to that left. And then again, if we swing to the left all the way to a 1, we have to, there's no willpower to stop this. We have to swing to a 9 or a 10. So with that being said, looking at this scale, and you can put it in the chat if you want to, where are you currently at on this scale? Where do you think y'all are at? I feel like I'm like at a 6.5, a 4. A lot of y'all are 4, so a little hungry. It is lunchtime, right? So like I said, eat y'all a snack, eat something, but y'all are getting a little hungry. And we really want to eat whenever we're like at a 3 or a 4. So this is perfect, perfect timing. Have some 5s, have a 6, perfect. Have a 3, stomach growling. Okay. If you're not eating soon, we need to eat something soon because we don't want to get to a 2. Perfect. So, oops. Okay. With this scale, overeating is a normal response to undereating. And I like to emphasize this because there is nothing wrong with you. It is not you. There is no amount of willpower that can overpower our physiological needs when it comes to eating in this hunger and fullness scale. So I'm going to go back to the scale real quick. So again, if it works like a pendulum, so if you find yourself ping ponging where you're a 1 or a 2, and then you're a 9 and 10, and then you're 1 or 2 and a 9 and 10 back and forth, how to stop this cycle is you actually need to eat when you're not hungry to stop the pendulum swing. So I would never tell someone, hey, like if they're starving, like ravenous, and say, oh, you need to just stop when you're at 5, or let's not 5. You need to stop when you're at 7. You can't. You can't control this when it happens. So again, you have to swing to a 9 or a 10. So it sounds a little intuitive, counterintuitive to do what I'm saying, but trust me, we'll go over it here in a little bit. And it goes more into like our practical hunger, which is whenever eating whenever we know we need to. so we don't swing all the way to the left, if that makes sense. So I have a slide on it here in a little bit because we go over other different types of hunger. So an example, say you eat no breakfast, you're like running out the door with your coffee in the morning. Coffee, just side note, is not a breakfast. I don't care what you put in it, it's not a breakfast. So you run out the door with your coffee, you have a light lunch, and then you have this huge dinner. You eat everything in the cabinet, right? That's just what happens. Again, no willpower to stop this. I would never look at someone, if they're doing that, I would never say, you need to decrease your dinner portion. Absolutely not. We would say, hey, actually, let's eat a breakfast. Let's, add a little bit more to lunch. You'll probably need a snack in the afternoon and go from there. Because if we do it like that, you'll decrease your dinner portion just by doing that, if that makes sense. So again, using not only this, but also our balancing method together so you can make sure to eat consistently and balanced throughout the day. So let's see. Any questions before I move on to the different types of hunger? Do y'all have any questions on the hunger and fullness scale? Just while we're on it, because I want to make sure you understand this before we move into kind of our next topics. Okay. If you're still
I
typing,
have a
type.
question.
Yeah, go for it.
I always feel like if I eat less at breakfast and lunch, and even if I do eat more at dinner, that I have a possibility of losing weight. But I guess by what you said, I have to eat more breakfast and lunch so that I'll eat less dinner. But will I actually lose weight doing that? Can you explain
That's
that? I'm sorry.
absolutely, absolutely. No, don't apologize. That's a really good question. So I feel like, and not to go into a deep dive into diet culture, but what diet culture teaches us, number one, is to be healthy, you have to lose weight and be in a smaller body, which that's like a whole nother thing. But also what they teach us is to be in a smaller body, to lose weight, you need to eat less and move more to lose this weight. And that would work just to lose weight, right? I wish I had a diagram on metabolism, but it's not the weight that really matters and the number of okay, it's not the weight that really matters. That's something we need to focus on. We need to focus on our metabolism because if we increase our metabolism, then the weight loss follows, right? If y'all are familiar with metabolism, it's basically the energy you burn throughout the day. But if you're constantly decreasing the amount that you're eating, right, to lose weight, that's what, if y'all have ever heard of yo-yo dieting, that's what happens, right? You get on a diet, you lose weight, you gain it back plus more, you get on another diet, you lose weight, you gain it back plus more over and over and over again. Well, what happens when we do that, we're steadily decreasing our metabolism. So, by eating consistently throughout the day, timing wise, eating balanced throughout the day, so balanced meals and snacks, we're actually going to increase our metabolism. So, to simplify it, it's not about the calories you eat in a day or the amount of energy you eat in a day. It's that we eat it consistently throughout the day, if that makes sense. So let's just take a number. Let's say 2,000 calories throughout the day. If someone's eating that amount, not that we need to count, but just for an example, and they're eating, like you're saying, like not really a breakfast, kind of a lighter lunch, and then the rest at dinner time, think about how that's affecting our blood sugar, which is absolutely related to our metabolism as well. So, with blood sugar, it doesn't matter if someone has diabetes or not, it's still important to look at because that affects the metabolism. So, if we take that same 2,000 calories and eat it consistently throughout the day, we have that consistent energy, we have that consistent blood sugar. So, therefore, we're increasing our metabolism. Does that make sense? Okay, great. Perfect. Awesome. But good question. That's a really good question. But yes, you can still lose weight if we transition from like not really eating beginning of day, eating and then eating at night to eating consistently throughout the day. Any other questions? Okay. All righty. So next thing is recognizing the different types of hunger. So understanding how different cues for hunger can affect our eating habits and why it's important to distinguish between them for more mindful eating. So hunger isn't just one feeling. So there's different types of hunger. It can manifest in different ways. So by recognizing the different types of hunger, we can then better understand and tune into our body's needs and then make more mindful choices. So we're going to go over 4 different types of hunger today. So the first one is physical hunger, which is what we just talked about, using that hunger and fullness scale. So that is our physical hunger. So that is our biological drive to eat, signaling that our body needs fuel to function. So what it feels like, so on that scale, remember stomach growling, we might get hangry or irritable, we might feel tired, fatigue, we might get lightheaded, some people get nauseous. So these are our body's natural ways to tell us like, hey, go eat something, right? Why it matters: ignoring the physical hunger can lead to overeating or binging later and cause our body to feel stressed or deprived, or even like we talked about a second ago, it can actually decrease our metabolism if we're not honoring our physical hunger, right? And eating consistently and balanced throughout the day. So how to honor it: eat when you notice these signs, choose those balanced meals and snacks. So that balancing method, we go over making sure our meals and snacks have protein, carbs, fats, and then non-starchy veggies or fiber in there. And then stop eating more comfortably full, not overly stuffed. Now, with what we talked about earlier, if we swing to a 1 or 2, we will eat till we're overly stuffed, right? That's just part of it. So keeping that in mind too, you can't stop yourself from overeating is a normal response to undereating. So kind of how to stop that ping-ponging pendulum of the hunger and fullness scale is to eat something even when we're not hungry, which again is practical hunger, which we'll go over in a second. So the next one is taste hunger. So this is the desire to enjoy a specific flavor, texture, or eating experience. So what it feels like, you're not physically hungry, but you're thinking about a particular food or flavor. So say an ad comes up or a commercial or something, and it's, I don't know, like Dairy Queen. And you're like, you know what sounds good right now? Like a DQ Blizzard. That's what taste hunger is. So why it matters. So denying our taste hunger can cause us to feel unsatisfied, even if you've eaten enough physically, you're not physically hungry. So that can result in constantly thinking about the food or craving that intensifies over time. So an example of this, so say that DQ Blizzard, you're thinking about it, but you're thinking in diet culture terms and you're like, no, I can't eat that. It's bad for me, which again, that's not what we do. All foods are meant to be enjoyed, but that's diet culture talking, right? In our brain. It's bad for me. I can't eat it. And then you wait like 4 weeks and then finally someone brings it to you and you eat like the whole thing in like a second, right? That's what's going to happen if we don't honor this taste hunger. So we don't want to restrict or deprive ourselves because then we're going to be out of control. Those cravings intensify over time. So then you're constantly going to be thinking about this DQ Blizzard that you've been wanting, but you can't have because it's bad, per diet culture. And then how to honor it: obviously giving yourself full permission to enjoy the food you're craving without guilt or shame. Now, eating mindfully, though, in these cases, so savoring each bite, paying attention to the taste, the texture, the flavor, all of the things, because that can help you feel more satisfied and prevent overeating. So again, whenever we wait too long, if you'll ever experience this, you've waited too long, you've been craving this one thing, but maybe you've been restricting it, and then you get a hold of this thing and you eat it like in a second. That's not mindful eating, right? If we're eating it so quickly. So keeping that in mind with the taste hunger, honoring it, and then being mindful whenever we do enjoy it, because that's the whole point, and that's why we're craving it, because we were wanting that flavor to begin with. So savor the flavor. So number three, and I have this one on two different slides because I had a lot of things to type. So emotional hunger. I feel like this is something that a lot of people can relate to. So it's eating to cope or soothe emotions rather than to satisfy physical hunger. So what it feels like, so you might notice this urge come on really, really quickly in response to stress, sadness, boredom, anxiety, or even happiness. So just some sort of emotion. Why it matters. Emotional eating isn't inherently bad, but it is also important to recognize when this is happening, so you can address the root cause of it. So say you start journaling and you're like, I'm journaling my like when I get hungry around my emotions, and it's actually every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. I have a meeting with my boss that maybe isn't the best, right? Maybe something like that. So trying to figure out what is causing it. Now, how to honor it, pause, check in with yourself. What are you actually feeling? Consider non-food ways to cope. So journaling, maybe taking a little walk, meditating, breathing, calling a friend. If eating still feels like the best choice, absolutely allow yourself to enjoy the food again mindfully without judgment or shame. Now, with emotional hunger, I like to always recommend therapy if you're having an emotion that's like sadness, anxiety, stress that's recurring, and that you can't yourself figure out a different way to cope, or you want more support to help make a plan and around like coping mechanisms. So, therapy, I'm a huge advocate of therapy. And then the last one is practical hunger. So that's the one I had mentioned earlier. So this is eating proactively because you know your body will need energy later, or eating because you know your body needs energy. So what it feels like, you might feel, or you might not feel physically hungry yet, but you know it will be a while before you eat next. So say you're gonna go get a massage, an hour and a half long massage, and you're like, you know what, I'm not really hungry yet, but I know in an hour in the middle of my massage, I'm gonna start getting hangry, right? And then I can't enjoy my massage. So that would be, hey, let me grab some trail mix or a little snack before going, because I know that I'm gonna need fuel when I can't like get that fuel, if that makes sense. So why it matters. Skipping meals or waiting too long to eat can lead to low energy, that irritability or hunger, and difficulty concentrating. Um, a lot of times, the difficulty concentrating, like the brain fog's like that 3 p.m. brain fog. So, eating proactively helps maintain that steady energy and avoids the extreme hunger later. And then how to honor it. So, choosing balanced snacks or meals that will sustain you. So, I talked a little bit about balancing earlier. And then think of foods with a mix of, again, the carbs, the protein, the fat, the non-starchy veggie or fiber for lasting fullness. So that's what we try to do with all of our meals. For snacks, I usually say a carb plus at least one of the other sections to balance it out, to make sure we're balancing using that balancing method. Now, remember, all types of hunger are absolutely valid. So it's never about perfection. Nobody is perfect. I'm a dietitian. I'm not perfect when it comes to food either. But it's about reconnecting with our body, having that awareness, honoring our body's needs, and finding joy and freedom in our relationship with food. Again, relationship with food is huge. And then the last section is just practical strategies to start implementing mindful eating. So, mindful eating, again, isn't about perfection. It's about small intentional habits that help us, again, reconnect with our body and enjoy food more fully. So, we're going to go over 6 simple but actionable strategies to practice during mindful eating. So, number one is just slowing down while we're eating. Again, most people are busy, they're rushing, they try to eat within like 2 minutes. Eating too quickly can make it hard for our body to recognize when it starts to get full, often leading to overeating and really thinking about it like being dissatisfied in your meal too, because you're not actually stopping and eating and enjoying that food. So a few ways to practice this: you can put your fork down between bites, chew your food thoroughly. Y'all, this is a big one. If you have any kind of GI, gas, bloating, constipation, people don't chew their food enough. So chew your food thoroughly to the consistency of applesauce is really what we want to chew our food to. So kind of a little side note there. The next thing is eliminate distractions. Y'all, I'm bad about this too, but obviously distracted eating, so watching TV, scrolling your phone, can prevent us from fully, again, enjoying our meal or snack or noticing when we're full. So how to practice: so eat at a table instead of on the couch, in the car, in front of the TV. Turn off the screens and focus on your food. How does it taste? How does it smell? What is the texture like? 3, checking in with your body. So regularly tuning in to your hunger fullness cues allows us to honor our body's needs. So pause halfway through your meal or snack, ask, am I still hungry or am I satisfied? Like, where am I on that hunger and fullness scale? Notice how your body feels before, during, and after eating. So one thing we have our clients do, just depending on the client, how we work with them is really individualized. So if someone needs support here, we might have them do a log for a few days to see, okay, where are you at, again, before, during, after the meal? What number are you at? How are you feeling? What emotions are you feeling? So that could be a good way to do that too. So I have a question. If you're on a level 5, either hungry or full, it's true that drinking water helps before you get to level 4 or 3 to avoid overeating. So it can really go 2 ways. If you actually haven't drank any water, yes, your body might need water, and it kind of gives us the same signals as us being hungry. But if you're pretty adequately hydrated, I wouldn't go and chug 32 ounces of water to feel full, right? And I say there's kind of 2 different ways to it, because the second one I'm saying is it can be kind of like the diet culture where it's like, if you feel hungry, just chew a piece of gum and drink water so you're not hungry anymore, right? So, but if you're on this other side where, like I was saying, if you're actually thirsty and you need to drink water, so it's kind of being aware of, how am I feeling? What does my body need? Have I drank enough water? That could be perfectly fine to say, hey, I'm not really hungry. I just need to drink some water. You could also look at like your timing throughout the day. So once we eat in the morning, we recommend eating every 3 to 4 hours. So say it's been only 2 hours since you've eaten last, you looked at your meal, you ate enough, it was balanced, but you're feeling kind of hungry, then it might just be that you're thirsty. I hope that makes sense. Because again, there's kind of 2 different ways to look at it, where it's like, okay, the mindful, like awareness way, but then there's also that diet culture kind of mentality too. So if you're hungry, definitely eat. Don't discount the hunger and drink water instead. But good question though. If anybody has a question about what I just said though, if it was confusing, let me know. Okay. And then create a balanced plate. So again, going back to that balancing method. So balanced meals and snacks keep us full and satisfied for a longer period of time. So it reduces those cravings and makes it easier to eat mindfully. So say, for instance, say someone wakes up in the morning and they eat eggs and bacon and some sausage, and then lunch they have a chicken breast and maybe broccoli, and then dinner they have a really big salad with all of these yummy non-starchy veggies and maybe some steak on top or some ground beef on top. If someone were to do that, just FYI, there's no carbs in that day at all. So someone like that was eating like that would actually probably overeat, specifically on carbohydrates, because they didn't give their body enough carbohydrates. So again, balanced meals are super important, getting all of those macronutrients in. Even if I did that same day with just carbs and no protein, kind of same thing. You're not adequately fueling your body. So how to practice. So aim to include all of those 4 subsections: carb, protein, fat, non-starchy veggies, or fiber at each meal. And again, snacks, carb plus at least one of those other section. You could do one other, you could do 2, you could do all 3 if you're feeling crazy, go for it. And then use visual cues. So if you're a visual person, you can divide your plate up. So cut it in half. One half is full of like your non-starchy veggies, a quarter is your protein, and then the other quarter are your carbohydrates. So that's kind of a good way to balance out your plate if you're a visual person. And then practice gratitude before eating. So taking a moment to appreciate your meal shifts your mindset and encourage you to savor each bite. So this gets a little bit more into mindset, which we talked about at our last session. And I always like to talk about mindset too. So how to practice. So before eating, take a deep breath and acknowledge the efforts that went into preparing your food, whether it's you, a spouse, maybe you went to McAllister's and you just appreciate those McAllister's workers for making your food. I love McAllister's. So, and then reflect on the nourishment the meal will provide your body. So just having that gratitude mindset. Yes, love McAllister's. Spicy Southwest chicken and a Savannah salad is 10 out of 10. So honor your taste, hunger without guilt. So allowing yourself to enjoy all foods you love, to reduce the feeling of deprivation, and that prevents, again, the overeating and the binging. Going back to what we talked about earlier with like kind of in the same light, the DQ Blizzard, that's kind of what we're talking about, taste hunger. But if that's like one of your favorites, don't restrict it, don't take it away. I actually made a post about this morning on our social media. Whenever we do that, it sets us up for failure. So enjoy those things. Now, how to practice: give yourself permission to enjoy foods for their taste, eat slowly, savor the flavor. This helps feel satisfied with the smaller portions, again, in a non-restrictive way. And then focus on eating mindfully rather than labeling food as good or bad. So if you've chatted with me before, if you've seen me do presentations, I'm really big on trying to get away from labeling foods as good or bad. It gets into the psychology and mindset portion of nutrition. So thinking about all these strategies, which feels the most doable for you right now, and how might implementing just one of these practices change the way you eat? So again, you can think about this, you can throw it in the chat. Let me know. I always love to hear y'all's responses and comments. And then 2, as always, I like to set some focuses. Just take a minute, think back through what we went over, and set 1 to 2 focuses that are challenging but attainable for you. Yes, so mindful eating, slowing down. I'm gonna go back to that one real quick. Yes, love it. Slow down, eat more veggies. Practicing gratitude to slow down. Love it. Yes, slowing down and focusing on balanced meals. Yes. Balancing is, obviously I might be biased with basic balanced nutrition, but balancing really is key. There are so many people that come to see us as clients, and a lot of people just aren't eating enough consistently or balanced, and they're overeating or they're binging, and they think, oh, I'm the problem, I can't stop. Listen, once you start fueling your body adequately in a balanced way, usually the overeating, the binging stops, because you just aren't fueling your body enough. And we start to increase our metabolism as well, which is super fun. Slowing down, eat when hungry, not bored, stress, eliminating distractions. Yes, that's mine. I'm really bad about being on my phone, whether it's social media or I'm like, I'm gonna check my emails real quick. So I need to get better at that too. Maybe that could be my focus. Eliminate distractions. So I want to just go over a little bit about us. It's only a few slides, and at the end, I will have a QR code to download all of these slides, and then QR code to our Instagram, Facebook, and then I'll just open it up for questions. So a little bit more about us. Again, if you have no idea who we are, We are a team of registered dietitians with a mission to help our clients gain confidence with their nutrition choices and their health overall and ditch the diet culture mindset. So no more restriction, no more calling foods good or bad, no more cheat days, nothing like that. So it's just enjoying all of your foods, but just in a balanced way. So how we can help, we help clients just build the foundation with nutrition. Most people just don't understand the foundation. A lot of people come in, they're like, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. But people really don't know what to do because they think what they need to do is what diet culture tells us what to do, and diet culture is not accurate and not correct, and they actually hurt us more than help us. So we do that. Any kind of disease state support. So as registered dietitians, we go to school for at least 6 years for this specifically. So diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, any kind of GI diseases, literally anything and everything disease-wise, thyroid, cancer, all of the above. We help with meal planning, meal and snack ideas, coming up with those, support and accountability, supplement recommendations. If someone is interested in that, we don't push supplements, but if someone wants that, we can obviously absolutely help as dietitians, and so much more. Like, we can literally help with anything and everything. So how to work with us, our one-on-one sessions, those are individualized. So it's like you come in and we go into deep dive into your life and what are your goals and all of the things. So those are very individualized. We have our group sessions. So we have our monthly master classes that are very, very similar to this setup. We have them obviously every month. It's a rotating topic. You can go vote on our topics, and those are open to everyone. We just opened those a few months ago, open to everyone. We have our community hour, which is for our BBN clients only. That's a safe space for our clients. It's kind of like a fun office hour for our clients to connect. We do grocery store tours, and then we do corporate wellness. And then a little bit about how we practice. If you haven't gotten that through just how I educate, we don't restrict. We focus on what clients can add versus what they need to take away or restrict. So we don't take away or restrict anything unless someone has a food allergy. That's completely different. We get to know our clients on a personal level, especially during those one-on-ones, and provide the individualized recommendation. So it's not like you're coming in and we give you the same handout and go over the same exact thing for every single client. It is very, very much individualized. We don't focus on weight, the size of someone's body, or BMI. So instead, we like to take a full body approach to measure our clients' health. So we look at the non-scale victory. So how are you sleeping? How are your bowel movements? How is your energy? How is your metabolism, right? Looking at all of that. How are your relationships? So I had a client once and he came in, I think this is the third session we had together. He came in and said, my coworkers asked me what I'm doing because I'm nice now. That's what he said. That's what he told me. Because he was eating one meal a day and he was hangry all day at work and he was cranky. He was like the old lady on the Snickers commercial. That was him, right? So no judgment or shame working with us. So it's always a safe space. And then in addition to nutrition, we focus on our other, what we call pillars. So hydration, movement or physical activity, sleep, stress management, and mindset. And then the most fun is with y'all's A&M insurance, it is covered 100%. So that includes our one-on-ones, that includes our master classes, that includes our grocery store tours, all of the things. So super exciting. If you have coworkers, let them know, because most people have no idea this exists. So locations, we're here locally, we're in Conroe, Huntsville, and then we do virtual, so we can really see anybody, anywhere. And remember, because food is meant to be enjoyed, all food is meant to be enjoyed. And then any questions, I know I have some in the chat, I'm gonna go over. QR codes, I know I have a lot here. If you just put your phone up to the screen and tap on the QR code you want, it'll come up with that specific link. So get your slides here, you'll do name, email, it'll automatically send you over an email with all of the slides from today. If you want to schedule, this is our scheduling link. And then we have our Instagram and Facebook. If you're like, I'm not really sure yet, but let me get a little bit more information, you can do that. So let's see. Do you have any recommendations for any therapists if we want support with mental health things in addition to nutrition support as we try to break away from diet culture? So there is, what was her name? Let me see. I'm going to pull it up on my screen real quick. Well, the screen you can't see, but this other screen real quick. Because I had a client yesterday and we were talking about this and I want to see who it was, if she sees. There is a lady. Her name is Danny Caslow. So she's here in College Station. One of my clients has been seeing her and she really likes her. So I just put it in the, oh, let's see. Hang on. Everyone. I just put it in the chat if anybody wants that. Oakwood Counseling. I've heard really good things from Oakwood Counseling. I think they take insurance as well. And then Brazos Valley Mental Health and Wellness is another good one. Let's see. So let's see. Do not stop in the drive-through is my motto during the week, and then treat myself occasionally during the weekend. And that's totally fine. As again, I feel like with anything, there's really two different ways that someone could think about it. Like for instance, this could just be, I want to cook more at home. I don't want to go through the drive-throughs during the week, but on the weekends, that's totally fine. If you're looking at it as in in a healthy way, like that's just what I want to do. But if we're looking at it as like, I can't have fast food during the week, but then on the weekends I go and get like 3 orders of fries and eat them in the parking lot and throw away the trash, then that's not a good thing. And I can say that because I've done that. So again, it's just the way you look at it. Let's see. I can't see her. Oh, because I know her personally. Okay. Well, tell her that one of my clients loves her. But yeah, Oakwood and then Brazos Valley Mental Health and Wellness. I know those two. Yeah. But any other questions? If you want to type in the chat, if y'all want to unmute, whatever works best.
You come up with your favorite affirmation from last time? No.
So I went back through them. I really need to redo them, but none were really over body. So what I personally like to do is do the exact same homework, but with all of my negative thoughts that I'm having, and then I make my affirmation. So when I did them last, honestly, when I went back and actually listened to it, it was I think from 2021 that I did it, and it was more just like struggling with like being busy and taking time for myself and not being like the perfectionist. So I've done a lot of work with therapists and different coaches to kind of get out of that mindset. But yeah, it's more of kind of that kind of stuff. Like I'm enough, like I'm doing enough. Because one of my toxic traits is like I need to do all the things. I'm behind. So it's like that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I give myself permission to rest. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so it's things like that. But yeah, like I said, I really need to go back and rewrite different affirmations, just what kind of fits me more now where I'm at in my life, which that stuff still comes up. So I probably need to still keep some of that stuff. But yeah. Yes. Let's see. Suggestions for people who are learning how to cook. So are you like suggestions on different recipes or like how to cook? I know there's a place I've never been, so I can't speak to it at all. There's a place I think it's like called Cook Grow something. It's like by the Walmart in College Station. I don't know if it's for adults or kids or who, but maybe even taking like a cooking class, in person. Um, I love to learn on YouTube. So even that, and just start small. Don't try to do all the things. Start with like the basics. Like how do I cook a chicken breast that's not dry? Start there, like in the oven or in the air fryer, however you want to do it. That would be my suggestion. But if you want like recipe ideas on our website, we have at the top, it says, I think it says resources. Let me see. Actually, I'm putting on this screen. So it says resources here, dietitian favorites, and then we have different websites for recipes. So that's what I like to reference a lot. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure y'all could see that. I was in a different spot. Okay. Thank you. This was great. I'm going to practice gratitude before eating. Yes. Thank you for the rest of the presentation. Y'all are so welcome. Yes, Pinterest has a lot of great recipes. Absolutely. Perfect. You are welcome. Okay, yeah, AgriLife Extension offers cooking sessions. I'm actually going to open that. Whoops. I'll open that for myself in my browser so I can look at that later. You're welcome. Have a good rest of y'all's day. If y'all have any questions, again, feel free to unmute, type in the chat. You are welcome. I'm so glad you are here today. Thanks for taking time and coming to my presentation, learning about hunger and fullness cues and types of hunger.
Thank you so much, Brandy. One day my
You're
voice is going to
welcome.
come back. And thank you guys for being here. Like I said, we'll get this recording posted up on our YouTube as soon as possible. So if you want to go back and view anything, or you have a coworker that needs to check it out, that'll be available to you. And then we have 2 more sessions with Brandy. So make sure you go on our app and our website and you get registered for those. And otherwise, have a wonderful Tuesday afternoon.